I've never been a man who needed much, just the simple things. A little affection, basic respect. The kind of hug that says, I see you. Give me that. And I'll give you everything I've got, my time, my sleep, my paycheck, hell, my soul if that's what it takes. That's just how I'm built. And that's exactly how it was with Rachel. We met when I was 27 and she was 25. She worked the front desk at a real estate office in Kansas City, had this sharp, smart mouth, and wore glasses that made her look like she was always 3 steps ahead of you. I liked that. Hell, I loved that. I was for years into my job at the sanitation department. Not glamorous, but it paid the bills, gave me structure, a reason to come home knowing I'd done something real. We fell fast. 6 months in, we were living together. 2 years later, we got married in a tiny chapel in Independence, Missouri. No big wedding, just our families, some barbecue, and a motel weekend in Branson. It wasn't grand, but it was real and it was ours. I couldn't tell you the exact moment Rachel started slipping away from me. It didn't come like a lightning strike. It was slow, creeping, like a roof leak you don't notice until the floor warps beneath your feet. Maybe it was right after we bought the house. Or maybe it was when she landed that new paralegal job downtown. That's when the clothes changed. Her tone shifted. Her phone started staying face down. The compliments faded into silence. Still, I didn't panic. I told myself marriage moves in seasons, dry spells, friction, quiet phases. Nothing to worry about, right? But then the space between us became silence. That silence grew into rejection. And eventually, rejection started to feel like the default setting. It started in small ways. I'd pull her close in bed and she'd shrug me off, say she was tired. I'd kiss her neck in the bathroom and she'd flinch like I was someone grabbing her in a dark alley. One night, I brought home sushi from Blue Koi, her favorite. Lit a few candles in the kitchen, just trying to remind her I still saw her. She didn't even lift her eyes from her phone. I asked, "Do you still find me attractive?" She blinked at me like I'd asked her if the sky was green and replied, "Why are you being insecure?" I said, "Because I don't feel like you want me anymore." She stood up, rinsed her plate, and walked away without another word. The only sound left was the quiet churn of the dishwasher and my heart sinking further than I thought it could. But the real fracture came on a regular Thursday night. No argument, no drama, just an ordinary evening that turned into a moment I'll never forget. I'd pulled a 10-hour shift that day, had to cover for a sick co-worker, and ended up driving one of the toughest routes. My back was sore, my hands raw from bins that should have been emptied days ago. I came home, took a shower, threw on a pair of sweats, and headed to the laundry room where Rachel was folding towels. I wrapped my arms around her waist gently, kissed her shoulder, nothing sexual, just needing to feel close to the woman I married. She froze. Then she shoved my hands off her like I was some stranger copping a feel at a bus stop. Stop, she snapped. God, I've told you. I'm not in the mood for touching all the time. I stood there, stunned, not angry, just humiliated. I wasn't asking for sex, I said. I just wanted to be near you. She turned, cold and unmoved. I don't want you near me right now. Honestly, it's not just tonight. I haven't wanted to touch you in months. I thought it would pass. But it hasn't. I just don't feel it anymore. That was it. No tears, no remorse. She folded the last towel, walked past me, and left me standing there holding a damn dish towel like a fool. Something broke inside me. I felt it crack, loud and certain, like a bone snapping. That night I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan, the same way I'd done for too many nights to count. But this time, I wasn't confused. I wasn't asking myself if I'd done something wrong. I knew I'd become invisible in my own marriage, not because I stopped trying, but because she stopped seeing me. I was still making her lunch some mornings, still picking up groceries, paying the bills while she took time off work after getting laid off. I helped her rewrite her resume, drove her to interviews when she didn't feel like fighting traffic, all that while working overtime to keep us afloat. And she repaid me by acting like I was a ghost haunting the house we lived in. So I stopped touching her. I stopped asking, not out of spite, but because whatever hope I had left in us died right there in that laundry room. And when hope dies, all that's left is silence, cold dinners and one-word replies. She didn't even seem to notice. Maybe she preferred it that way, me quiet, compliant, easy to overlook. She started going out more. Book club, drinks with friends, old college buddies visiting. Same black jeans, same tight top, same red lipstick she never wore around me anymore. She'd come home at 1 a.m., slide into bed without a word. One night, I asked her, "Do you even think about us anymore? Like, what we've become?" She scoffed. "Don't be so dramatic, it's life. We're just busy." Busy, that's what she called it. As if we hadn't held hands in 6 months. As if I hadn't kissed my wife like a man should. In almost a year. I wasn't being dramatic. I was starving for affection, for kindness, for something human. But instead of screaming, I made a quiet decision. I was done being the man she forgot she had. And that's where the story took a turn. It was a Friday. I'd just finished another shift at work, grabbed Taco Bell on the way home, and ate it in my truck because I couldn't bear to sit across from her. At the dinner table in silence, she'd told me earlier she was hosting a girls' night. Sophie and Kara coming over for wine and trashy movies. Told me I didn't have to disappear, just to give them space. I was used to it. I wasn't a husband anymore. I was furniture. I parked a block away, sat in the truck scrolling through my phone like I had somewhere else to be. When I finally walked in, the smell of red wine and flatbread pizza hit me. Laughter spilled from the living room, the kind of full, belly-deep laughter I hadn't heard from Rachel in over a year. She glanced at me, gave a lazy wave, didn't pause her story. I grabbed a water, sat at the far end of the dining room table, just close enough to hear them, but far enough to be forgotten. Kara left early, claiming a migraine. That left Sophie and Rachel, and about half an hour later, Rachel fell asleep on the couch, wine glass tilted, head back, mouth slightly open like I wasn't even a person anymore. Sophie walked into the kitchen, tossed something in the trash, looked at me. "I've got to be honest," she said, arms crossed, leaning on the counter. I raised an eyebrow, not sure what was coming. She glanced at Rachel out cold, then stepped a little closer. "I've been watching this for months. The way she talks to you, or doesn't, you try, and she shuts you out." I didn't respond. I wasn't about to spill my marriage problems to Rachel's best friend. But Sophie didn't stop. "You know what she said the other day?" she whispered. "She laughed and said she hasn't touched you in forever and doesn't plan to." My chest tightened. Sophie's voice softened. "She doesn't see you anymore. But I do." I gave a bitter laugh. "That's kind of you." But she cut me off. "No, I mean it. You show up. You try. You're real. I've always thought if she didn't want you." She stepped closer, testing the space between us. "I've always wanted to." Her words hit like a thunderclap in a quiet field. She wasn't flirting. She was trembling. Her honesty raw, risky, and for the first time in what felt like forever, someone looked at me like I mattered, like I was seen. "Sophie, I can't," I whispered. "I know," she said, and stepped even closer. "But I can't walk out of here tonight knowing you'll go to bed feeling worthless again." She reached out and touched my hand. A small, simple gesture, but it was everything. It wasn't sex. It was oxygen. Human, warm, real. And what happened next wasn't revenge. It wasn't even planned. It was just a broken people, finding something quiet and needed in the middle of a mess. The next morning, she was gone. No note. Just a text. Hours later, "I don't regret it. I hope you don't either." But no pressure. I didn't regret it. I didn't feel guilty, because my marriage had left me long before Sophie reached for my hand. Rachel never noticed. She woke up hungover, blamed it on the wine, and sent me to Walgreens for Pedialyte and crackers. I stood in that aisle, staring at bottles and realizing I was done being invisible. I'd felt something last night, and you don't unfeel that. You don't go back to being forgotten. Eventually, Rachel found out. I didn't tell her. Sophie didn't either, not right away. But these things never stay buried. Not in Kansas City. Not in a circle that tight. Not when someone like Rachel only notices you once you stop orbiting her. It was a Wednesday. I was making box mac and cheese when she walked in, dropped her purse, and looked me dead in the eye. "So, when were you going to tell me you slept with Sophie?" Her voice was calm, but her eyes, fire. I didn't flinch. I wasn't. She blinked, caught off guard. That's my best friend, Colin. I set down the spoon, turned the stove off, looked her straight in the face. You're shocked someone wanted me. She didn't expect that. She expected tears, groveling. She got a wall she couldn't climb. She stammered. You just walk around like it's nothing. I laughed, tired, not cruel. You stopped touching me a year ago. You pushed me away every time I got close. You told me I disgusted you. You didn't want to feel anything. What did you expect would happen? She tried to interrupt, but I kept going. You lost me way before Sophie ever touched me. You threw me away. You just didn't think I'd let someone else pick up what you dropped. She stepped closer. We could have worked on it. You should have told me. I did, I said. You didn't listen. And that's when she knew. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stood there, realizing she didn't break me. She lost me. That night, she left before I woke up. 2 days later, she sent a bitter text. You really blew up our marriage over someone who doesn't even care about you. I didn't reply. That weekend, I moved out. Took a short-term rental downtown. Nothing fancy, just mine. I left her the house. Let her keep the furniture. I just took my clothes, my tools, and my peace. Then I called a lawyer. When she got the divorce papers, she lost her mind. Emailed me for paragraphs of guilt and rage, calling me the villain, blaming me for everything. I read it once, deleted it. You know what breaks someone like Rachel? Silence. She spiraled, posted cryptic quotes online, tried to contact Sophie, sent screenshots, desperate for control again. But she was too late. Sophie had already told me the truth. That night, it was about reminding you who you are. And I remembered. I rebuilt in silence, started trail running, dropped weight, picked up overtime, reconnected with family, started reading again, real books, real life. My coworkers said I looked lighter. My supervisor said, you're not carrying that cloud anymore. And Rachel, she dyed her hair, took solo trips, posted sunsets with captions like still learning to love myself. But I knew the truth. She didn't miss me. She missed control. She showed up once at my door, months later, wine bottle in hand. I miss how safe I felt with you. I stepped outside, shut the door behind me. You don't miss me. You miss the man who stayed no matter how little you gave him. That man's gone. She stood there, frozen. I walked away, quiet, final. And that's how you win, not by revenge, not by rage, but by disappearing so completely that they realize too late you were the one thing they never deserved to lose.